episode 50 was going to end on a cliffhanger so that then we could start the whole movie. So, as we all know so far, Titan Clockman was trying to reach the Alliance to let them know about the alien invasion. And at the same time, the Alliance already made a truce with skibidi agents, especially with commanders. So they were trying to take some rest, but at the same time, Titan Clockman knew that there was no time. This is why Titan Clockman was trying to reach them. And the problem begins where the moment they are trying to, take some rest, even though just for a couple more seconds, they can't even do that. Because what happens, C-Pen takes control over the G-Man Apocalypse body and starts moving the whole fortress again straight towards the TV base. And the Alliance are obviously not in a position to begin another fight with the whole giant fortress. So while Commander is trying to get into the inside of G-Man Apocalypse to shut down the system, somebody gotta hold down the whole fortress to buy some times, and no Titan can absolutely do that. There's no Titans are injured. They're in not a good situation. So what happens here? Titan Pencil Woman uses literally her entire existence to create a very giant clone. Mind you, Titan Pencil Woman was already very injured and tired. But what she does here is a huge sacrifice that she creates a very giant clone of herself with the same size as G-Man Apocalypse to stop the G-Man Apocalypse from moving so that Commander could have enough time to shut down the system. So basically, she was fighting with the C-Pen in that giant form. And eventually, Commander manages to shut down the system inside with the help of Dr. Kleiner, Professor Kleiner. But as you guys can already guess, this causes Titan Pencil Woman to vanish. And she vanishes on the hands of Titan TV Man. And yes, because of this situation, Titan Pencil Woman dies. And yeah, she dies. And also, Extender already made a really great art about it. You guys can see it in the chat. It was going to be something like this. And she did all she could. And it was a really tragedy that at the end of the day, she still died in fighting against one of her own kind that was C-Pen. I mean, in her own race. That was a tragedy as well. But she made this sacrifice so the others could live on at least for a little bit. But there was no time for mourning. And they had to gather their strength. And the moment that Titan Clockman arrived, he sees that, oh, they are one Titan down. Titan Pencil Woman is gone. And other Titans are injured. But at the same time, they have to gather their strength. There's no time to, because the aliens are coming. But literally before they could even try to talk about it, suddenly, all of a sudden, a huge blast comes out of the sky, straight up hitting the TV base, exploding the TV base, along with Scientist TV Man, Chief Drill Man, and the other agents inside the TV base, and the whole base explodes. And the moment they're trying to figure out what just happened, they see that, oh, the aliens absolutely didn't give a single moment. They all attacked with all their might, with all their spaceship, along with their mothership, and they released hundreds of the clones of the Wrath Titan, but at the same time shooting a lot of blasts out of the sky. And there was absolutely no situation for escape. And the whole invasion happens in less than 2 minutes, while the Alliance can absolutely do nothing about it but to watch the whole invasion right into the sky. While we can also see C-Pen on the mothership babbling and talking about something that, yeah, all that matters is about survival, and he doesn't care that he had to do this. But one funny thing happens, that one of the purple drones from the aliens comes from behind the C-Pen, shuts down the system of C-Pen, and kind of kills him to use his system for some cheap AI stuff for the mothership. That at the end of the day, the aliens didn't want him at all anyway. That Master always looked at him as a cheap toy, just like it was already teased kind of in the latest episodes. So yeah, it was also funny because this is how Seapen ended up. Uh, yeah, you could say that I'm saying everyone dies, but here is how it ends in episode 50. Okay, when Master sits on his throne and says that begin the conquer, it was supposed to be the ending of episode 50, and later in a black screen, Titan Clockman says one line. Because, Titan Clockman once again tries to stop time, but there are so many alien clock devices that counters his time powers. So when he sees this is useless, he used his one last time trick, and that time trick is this power reversed by death. So what does this do? In the movie, we're going to show that the beginning of the movie was going to be that we literally show that all the Titans are dead and Titan Clockman is the last one standing. And when he dies, suddenly the time trick works. And when he dies, he's reversed. His death is reversed. So he goes back 2 minutes before the alien invasion. And this is kind of a reference to ReZero series, Natsuki Subaru, if you guys know that anime about. So this is how his powers work. And he still doesn't have that much time. Yeah, returned by death. But so he kind of tries this over and over again, trying to find a way to stop the alien invasion, but he fails over 10 times, which means that he dies over 10 times. And eventually, when he sees that there's no other way for him to actually fight back with the alien invasion, Titan Clockman decides to use the rest of his time powers. Instead of putting it in the reverse by death, he tries to put it in one huge time stop level, one of those time stop that Sinister was able to do, that he time stopped the entire galaxy in episode 42. He did this thing too. And the whole thing is that when he does that, just because he's using literally everything he had remained from his powers, after he does that, Titan Clockman for the rest of the movie will no longer have any time powers, so that he could make this moment happen. So he does this. He stops the time for the entire galaxy and make the other alliance in kind of invulnerable against the time stop. And while everything is stopped, he just straight up tells them, there's no much time. I cannot hold this for any longer. Just teleport the entire TV base. Just escape to whatever place in the entire planet Earth that you can, and gather your resources. Right now, just escape as fast as you can while the time is stopped. So they do this, and at the same time, Titan Clockman also escapes to another place. And when the time stops, the alien invasion, and the Master sees that, oh, all of a sudden they're all gone. So he tries to search for what alliance are actually hiding in. And this is the moment that the beginning of the movie begins. And for the later on, I'm going to explain that what the alliance do and what Titan Clockman tries to do. But so far, I'm going to let you guys take some rest to take it all, so that I can continue what is going to happen. So far, what is happening right now is that except for Titan Pencil Woman, now all the Titans are alive. They're just escaping. They're just hiding, trying to gather some resources to come up with a new plan. And another thing right now is that Titan Clockman can no longer use any time power. So yeah, so far this is how it's going to be for the beginning of the movie, and I'll be explaining more about it for y'all in the next 1 minute. Oh yeah, honorable mention. Sinister is watching all of this at the same time, and it was kind of the way he was saying this to Titan Clockman every single time, that you will die again and again. And this literally happened in the movie, as I told you guys. He died over 10 times, from the reverse by death to eventually coming up with this final plan to help everyone escape. Yeah, Sinister knew about the death trick. One thing I gotta tell you guys is that Sinister saw everything from the beginning, that from that episode 47 scene, that it was a musical scene. Sinister predicted this whole thing. This is why he chose to kind of go back to the clock tower just so that he could see how Titan Clockman Benjamin goes through all this suffer to prove the point that, yeah, you guys know him. As he said in episode 47, if he in episode 49, if he wanted, he could have just finished off Titan Clockman in the first battle, but no, he saw this whole possibility, so that he wanted to force him to go through all this. And yeah, we'll reach to that later. But right now, so far, you guys gotta know, yes, Sinister is just casually watching this. But one thing I gotta tell y'all about the Master. Well, the Master simply goes through different universes, different galaxies, different planets, and he. First of all, I gotta let y'all know about one thing that the space mothership, the whole mothership for the aliens have. You know, they have this one special weapon that works like a nuclear weapon that can literally one shot a whole planet when it's a huge blast coming out of it. But Master doesn't use it until he has used all he has wanted to get all he wants from that specific planet that he wants. First, he tries to milk the planet to get slaves, to get what he wants, to see if there's any potential for this planet. And when he has completely dried the planet, he's like, okay, there's no more use to this planet, destroy it. He literally did the thing with Counter Titan's planet, with Alpha and Alpha's sister planet. And yeah, he's planning to do the same thing with Earth. He doesn't want to one-shot Earth right now because he wants to get everything possible he can from it. And eventually after, then he is going to destroy the whole planet. So he has the weapon, but he's not going to use it right now. But so far, what's happening now for the Alliance? Well, I see you guys are worried about Steve. First of all, the Alliance went into two separate ways. The entire camera and TV and speaker agents went to the speaker base because there was a speaker base this whole time, while the drill people decided to go to Persia, because what we were planning to show is that there are actually alive human being in Persia, along with some other drillmen in Persia that they were actually having a secret base right there. So yeah, have it here for now, and I'll explain it later. Yes, Steve and Chief Drillman, Drillwoman, and Assassin Drillman, they're all alive. So they go to the drill base in Persia, and they're trying. Here is when they give Steve a new body, some body similar to his 2.0 form, but with more clothes. And this is where the drill people are trying to come up with a way to, make some contact with the other alliance. But at the same time, the other alliance are in their speaker base trying to get some resources to one final upgrades for their titans. Even though it's not gonna be that much, it's still better than nothing. While also trying to not get exposed from the aliens. At the same time, Titan Clockman is trying to find Counter, and he does find the Counter Titan, and he tries to convince Counter to help him kill the Master. But Counter is like, you don't even have your time powers right now, and you're just too pathetic for me to even get my revenge on you. And Titan Clockman still tells him that their main opponent is going to be the Master, so he tries to just find a way. Like, Counter Titan is going to have a very special, it was going to have a very special role here, because he actually knows a way to enter the mothership where a Master is. So if there's a whole, because Commander was also trying to find a way, so Counter Titan along with Titan Clockman and some of the skibidi agents like Leon and others with Commander try to find a way to make a plan together so that they can enter the mothership. But at the same time, Master was trying to do something traumatizing with his favorite pet. So as I've said before, Master had a pet this whole time, and this pet is a giant alien centipede that is way bigger than any other Titan. Like, it's more than twice the size of a Titan, and it's not just from the length. It's a huge alien ass centipede that you can imagine if Counter was his favorite toy, This centipede is his favorite pet and is far stronger than any other titan. So what does this centipede do? He sent this centipede to Persia, and they find the whole drill base. And when the drills find this out, they try to save the humans. They get them to safety, but in the process, unfortunately, while they're trying to save children and youngs, the drills die to the centipede. And by drills, I literally mean chief drill man, drill woman, and assassin drill man. They tried to save all the remaining humanity and against the centipede. And Steve once again had to watch that all. Steve once again watched all the people who cared for dying right in front of him. And this whole traumatizing thing once again happened to him. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this to this poor guy, but this happened to him. And this centipede was a huge trump card for Master. So I want you guys to know that when this thing happens, there's literally nothing that could have been done about it. This centipede was just too strong. And Steve desperately fights back and remembers all the times that he wanted to do something, but he still failed to save his own family. He's getting so much damage, but he rages. He just, at this point, finds a way to choke the centipede from the neck of the centipede, grabs it with his strong arms, just hold it, just put the highest pressure that he can, and the centipede is, even though doing damage to Steve's body, realizes that the neck pressure is actually getting too much. So the centipede tries to throw Steve, tries to fly away, but the centipede realizes that it's not working. So the centipede flies up to the space, and each time that the centipede goes higher, the pressure that Steve is putting from his hands to the neck of the centipede is getting higher and higher and higher. He's not gonna let him go. And by this, and at this point, I'm telling you guys, this centipede has done with his legs too much damage to Steve's body. That Steve's body is literally ripped in half. But even though Steve's body ripped in half, he's not letting go. And even when one of the centipede's legs damages the Steve's soul, and the soul seems to be going away from Steve's body, the soul goes back to the body and puts higher pressure with his hand on the neck, centipede's neck. He's not gonna let that go. And centipede screams in pain while Steve is shouting, and up into this space while the sun can be seen. Eventually, Steve's cuts centipede's head while he's also ripped in half, and they both die. Yes, Steve and the centipede both die, but Steve manages to destroy the only trump card that Master had for this whole thing, because killing the centipede with one Titan was a huge deal. And well, you could say that at this the entire Drillman death didn't go in vain, thanks to Steve. But yeah, after Titan Pencil Woman, Steve also, as Titan Drillman, dies in the movie. So have it for now here. Centipede is dead, but we also lost Steve. But the human live, and now it's a whole final fight between the Alliance, Titan TV Man, Titan Cameraman, and Titan Speaker Man, with the entire camera, speaker, and TV agents against the alien army. So while at the same time the skibidi agents with Titan Clockman and Counter Titan are trying to kill the Master inside the spaceship, I can tell you guys that this whole fight thing is going really hard. And I was really imagining very cool scenes that G-Man was working with Titan TV Man, Titan Cameraman, and Titan Speaker Man against all the Titans, against all the Wrath clone Titans. And yeah, at the same time, Nemesis Toilet and this give you to the 01 and 02 are also in this fight. It's a whole chaotic fight. It was going to be a whole chaotic fight here, but at the same time, there was going to be this scene that Counter Titan and Titan Clockman finds a way to actually fight against the Master, and they were getting their butts whooped But they reach a point where their teamwork kind of pays off, and they find a spot where they can actually, kind of beat up Master. But the whole interesting thing that happens right here is that at the same time, the Alliance have lost a huge part of their army against the alien army. Finally, when Titan Clockman and Counter find a way to kind of weaken Master, something very strange happens here. The entire the entire mothership reboots from an unknown source. The entire mothership reboots, and this happens while Master has no idea how that happened. Master has no idea how the entire spaceship, how the entire mothership just got reboot, and realizes that it was actually uh, the uh, the AI system of CPEN. So while they were trying to use CPEN for cheap stuff, the consciousness of CPEN took control over the entire spaceship. And this is a whole shock that this MF once again survives and does this whole thing. And have you guys seen that book, I Have No Mouth, but I Must Scream? You guys know AM. You can imagine CPN literally as AM. The amount of hate that now he has towards everything is to the point that the moment he takes control over the mothership, he is like, yeah, I'm gonna launch this freaking weapon. I'm gonna blast this nuke to the entire Earth and destroy everything. And while Master is trying to get back control, Counter Titan uses the opportunity and kills Master and gets a huge satisfaction out of that. And yeah, so Counter Titan kills Master, but there's nothing that can be done because Master was going to be the only person who could actually gain control over the mothership again. And now, what's gonna happen? Everybody's down there on Earth, and Sipen is just straight up going to use the whole nuke thing. And mind you, this is the exact thing that happened in the Clone universe, if you guys remember it. When Aiza said that everyone but Chief died, the Earth got destroyed by Sipen. This is what legit happened in the Clone universe. And this is how Sipen destroyed the Clone universe. And here, yeah, right. Here, there's this one moment that Titan Clockman just has no idea what to do but to do that one very thing that Sinister was telling him from the beginning. He said that, yeah, when you find no hope, you're gonna reboot everything. Titan Clockman can sacrifice his soul, can the remaining time power that has in his source of energy, to use that to reboot the entire thing, because that was the whole thing that Sinister told him he can do, but he never wanted to do that because of, it would have actually ended up causing Sinister to win. But there was no other way. He either had to reboot the whole universe to start everything from new in a universe that he doesn't exist, or he just has to watch the entire planet getting destroyed. So what should he do? At the same time, Sinister is also watching. He knew all this was going to happen, and he's enjoying it very much. Titan Clockman has no choice but to do what exactly Sinister wanted him to do. And the moment he's trying to sacrifice his soul to reboot the entire universe, here, someone arrives. Guess who, guys? Guess who? It's gotta be the future large Clockman. It's Winston. Now, what was Winston doing this whole time? When back then in episode 47, he told Aiza that, yeah, I found the way. So what was the way? There was going to be 3 steps. Let's have some flashbacks, guys. What was Winston doing this whole time? So Winston saw this whole thing, and he had 3 steps. What were these 3 steps? The first step was that he was going to approach Mr. Clock. He found that there was something wrong with Mr. Clock, and through that, he figured that out. That Mr. Clock was the one who gave Sinister power. Mr. Clock was mostly behind this whole thing. And since Mr. Clock saw what was going to happen, he's like, yeah, at this point, let me just tell you about the whole breaking the fourth wall thing. He kind of tries to make Winston snap by telling him that everything is just fake. But at the same time, Winston gathers his thoughts again and he's like, okay, what I want you to do for me is to tell me what exactly can be done about it. And Mr. Clark is like, hey, I'm not going to do anything, but at the same time, I don't want a cliche ending. I like an ending where a villain actually wins for once. Because Mr. Clark is looking for entertainment. He's like, yeah, I don't want, a whole Avengers Endgame ending. So I think this is gonna be the perfect one and a realistic one. That Sinister, that has done a lot of things to win the whole fight, finally gets what he wants. But at the same time, Winston is okay. I want you at least not to interfere, at least not to do anything. He tells Mr. Clark that he's going to change this whole thing, even if it means that he gotta get a cliched ending. Winston said that he's going to change this whole thing if Mr. Clark doesn't do anything. And Mr. Clark is like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna abuse my powers or something. I already did enough. And yeah, so this was his first step. And the second step is where he goes to Harold. Now, who's Harold? Guys, we remember who's Harold, right? It was who? It was Zombie Large Clockman. So this is another interesting thing. Guys, Harold, what do we know about Harold, guys? What do we know about Harold? So far, we know that Harold was the one to, kind of. You guys heard what Harold was saying about getting infected, right? That how he was very goofy and stuff. Well, the truth is, Harold erased his own memories, and what originally happened to Harold was something more traumatizing than what it is right now. So hear me out. Yeah, what happened to Harold, Zombie Large Clockman, was way more depressing. Back then, Harold wasn't always in a zombie form. He was normal and in a very different and unique design, living with his friends and controlling a whole universe. Harold was by far the strongest clock in his own universe. And I can even tell you that his strength was powerful enough to convince Champion Clock to have his help for the whole multiversal fight thing against the Goddess of Stars. So the whole thing about Harold is that Harold uh, was like, okay, my universe is already safe, so I can go to the strongest universe to help Champion Clock. And this says a lot because this means that Ethan doesn't even match Harold's strength. In terms of strength, Harold is kind of the strongest Agent Clock we've ever seen. And you guys could already guess because even his zombie form was able to beat up a whole infected Titan with ease. So yeah, at the same time, I gotta let y'all know, Harold had a fiance. Harold had a fiance that had the same voice as Isa's voice. Okay, and when he was going to leave the entire, yeah, he had a fiance. He was having a really cool life right there, and but the moment that he was trying to leave his universe to join Champion Clock, his fiance tried to stop him, telling him that he doesn't need to do all that. He doesn't have any responsibility towards that. But he was that type of a person that said that with great power comes great responsibilities. So that if I have this amount of power, I gotta do it because no one else can actually do it. So even though his fiance tried to stop him, at the end of the day, he eventually left. He left the universe, and even though with the help of Champion Clock they did defeat the Goddess of Stars, something traumatizing happens when Harold wasn't in his universe. The whole zombie virus thing happened, and when he came back, he saw everyone, even his own fiance, turned into zombie. Even his own fiance turned into zombie, and he desperately was trying to make some changes. He even tried to infect himself with the virus, and he realized that he can deal with the virus so that he could find with a cure, but that still didn't work because he was just too strong for the virus to infect him in the first place, while others were not. So he realized that while his friends and his fiance were infected, they were still kind of alive. They were seeing what was happening, but they couldn't control themselves, and their soul were suffering. So this suffering decision he had to make was that he had to kill his all friends along with his fiance so that at least their soul could rest. So that at least their soul could rest. And this was so traumatizing. This was so traumatizing for him, but he had to do it, and he blames himself because if he was in his universe, that would not happen. But that happened. And he kills everyone along with his fiance to release their soul, sending them to the clock realm instead of the zombie Titan Clockman, because the zombie Titan Clockman was still aware that Harold was going to be very alone, and he just kind of felt bad for him, and he decided to stay even if it meant that he was going to go through this pain with the zombie virus. But as you guys have seen it from episode 47, eventually even zombie Titan Clockman dies to Sinister as Sinister absorbs his power. So Harold was so traumatized to the point that he just decided to erase his own memories because he just couldn't take it. And this is why he kind of don't remember stuff. And the only thing that was confusing for him was that he was somehow attracted to Isa because Isa's voice was literally the same voice as his fiance, although he couldn't understand. And if you guys notice in episode 49, there's that one scene, guys, there's that one scene in episode 49 where Isa for the first time, calls Zombie Large Collectman from his name, Harold. He says, Harold, can you just stop? And this is the same line he used to hear a lot from his fiance. And there, if you notice, he gets a headache. He gets a headache right there in episode 49. And yeah, this was going somewhere, guys. And what does Winston do in the second step? He makes, although it might be a little bit cruel, but he makes Harold remember all his past because he needs Harold's strength to deal with the clock devices from the alien mothership. So when he does that, Harold remembers everything. And even though another sad fact for Harold is that even if they defeat Sinister, his universe is still going to end up dead because what happened to his universe wasn't from anything related to Sinister. And yeah, even if they get a happy ending, there's never going to be a happy ending for Harold. And even then, he still chooses to help Winston to at least save his friends. And there was going to be this whole cool scene where remember back then when I told you guys that Titan Clockman in the beginning of the movie was trying to escape from the aliens? There's going to be that time that Harold was going to show up and say that, okay, guys, now it's time for a huge show. And Harold was going to literally challenge the entire alien army. And remember, even one alien clock device was making Titan Clockman struggle in episode 49. They had a lot of those clock devices in the movie. And when Harold was fighting against them, there was that Gojo reference that he was like, oh yeah, really want to stop me with that? Time expansion, something like that. Yeah, something like that. It was going to be a very anime style fight. And he literally destroys all the alien clock devices. He literally destroys all the alien clock devices to the point that Master was like, okay, the only way to beat this guy is to kind of make a gamble. And what does Master do is that when he sees that this little agent is literally destroying his entire army, he is like, yeah, launch the nuclear weapon that we have on the mothership. And to stop that blast, Harold makes a domain, but in order to stop that blast, he also dies in the process to save the Earth. So yeah, Harold did a lot of things, but he still had to sacrifice himself and he still dies. But good thing for him, his soul can finally rest in peace and his soul joins the other clock souls in this clock realm, and where he finally unites with his fiance in that realm. So you can at least imagine this kind of ending for him. But yeah, oh 07 for Harold, Zombie Large Clockman. He did all he could. And yeah, that was how it was supposed to go. So this was, okay, back to Winston. This was his second step. Winston convinced Harold to do this stuff. So this was his second step. And the third step eventually led to this final moment that Titan Clockman was going to reboot the whole thing. Okay? Here, Winston arrives and tells him, do not reboot. But Titan Clockman tells him that, but if I don't reboot, the entire Earth is going to get destroyed. And Winston says, then let it get destroyed. Let it get destroyed. Because you know why? Sinister is also still in London under the clock tower. So do you actually think if the blast actually goes to Earth, Sinister would let himself die? Let it happen. Gamble it. Let it happen. Sinister is going to stop the time himself because he doesn't want to die. It's a huge gamble, but also made sense. And Sinister was there waiting for Titan Clockman to reboot the whole thing. But Titan Clockman doesn't reboot. The blast is sent to Earth. And Sinister is like, okay, screw everything. He's forced to get out of that trap and use the time stop to stop the blast. To save the Earth because he was also in Earth. And this changes everything. Yeah, this changes everything. And Sinister is so pissed from this simple move that Future Launch Clockman made, mostly because he saw through everything the same way Sinister did. So he rampaged and decides to simply just use his time hypnotism against C-Pen to get control over the mothership, which means that he can get control over all the alien army. So yeah, when Titan Clockman and others land on Earth, they see Sinister now controlling the entire army of the aliens, along with all their ships, all the hundreds of the Wrath clones, and the entire drones, thousands of one of those goop drone things that used to fight against the skibidi agents, all against Titan Clockman and the injured Titan cameraman, Titan TV man, and Titan speaker man and G-man. They're all injured, and there isn't really much of camera army or speaker army or TV army left because of the amount of damage they have. So they would absolutely stand no chance. And Sinister is like, yeah, I'm so pissed. I really wanted to start everything the way I wanted. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to kill every single one of you. And then I can take over things the way I want. And this is where, in the darkest hours, guys, in the darkest hours when you can find no hope, Winston comes and tells Sinister, you don't actually understand. This is truly the finale of everything. And a lot of portals opens, and Camp Prime, Metal Drill, with other Transformer Titans arrive. Other portals open. There was going to be, I was going to get permission from that, but there was going to be Tri-Titan, Verlance Titans, and the Zombie Universe Titan, G-Man from the Zombie Universe. And there was going to be this whole gathering from the whole ending plot thing, that the very thing that Mr. Clock didn't want to happen and Vincent made it happen. There was going to be this whole thing that everyone was gathering for this final fight all together. And you guys were going to see a lot of references from a lot of characters. And the moment that everybody were ready, Camp Prime was going to have this line, just like Cap in the Avengers Endgame said that Avengers assemble. Here was Camp Prime going to say, Alliance, rise up. And then the entire fight was about to begin. And you can imagine how this fight would have gone. Even Counter Titan joined them again. Imagine Counter Titan fighting alongside with Sonar Titan, while other Titans, Tri-Titan, trying to deal with a spaceship in the sky, destroying them with his fast speed. And at the same time, yeah, it was going to be a lot of cool stuff. And once again, it's just sad that we can never show it on animation. But I think it was at least worth it to say it in this VC right here. And it was a cliche one, but a lot of stuff were about to happen during this fight. Sinister was still going to do a lot of damage. But at the end of the day, let me just tell you guys like this, that Sinister and Titan Clockman, they both die. And with Sinister death, all the universes destroyed by Sinister from the Champions Order get back, and the whole multiverse this way was saved. Yeah, I'm just gonna summarize it like this. Yeah, Titan Clockman was our last original Titan to die, along with Sinister, and everybody kind of does give him that kind of respect. And Benjamin also joins Steve and Kitsy, Titan Dreamer and Titan Pencil Woman. So yeah, by the ending of this whole thing, Titan Clockman also dies. Yeah, the clock race was still there. I mean, Winston is alive, Ethan is alive, and some of the, especially the Alarm Clockman and other short agents were also alive from the clock race. They didn't die out, but Titan Clockman did die. And yeah, rip Benjamin. But after this, finally the Alliance kind of make this truce with Commander and others. After, especially after they realize that there are human alive in Persia, so they decide to rebuild the whole thing and focus on different stuff. While at the same time, Winston goes through different universes, try to keep the balance with the help of Ethan and Isa. While at the same time, Mr. Clark is still with them, but he's kind of acting nonchalant that, yay, we won, but only Winston knows about this whole thing. But he doesn't try to do anything because he knows that he can't do anything against Mr. Clark because Mr. Clark is just undefeatable at this case. But they're chill, so that's how this whole thing goes. And at the same time, Counter Titan takes the control over the remaining army of the aliens and decides to just get back to the space. Right now, he doesn't want to do anything with Earth, but he kind of threatens them that, yeah, maybe if I feel like it, in future you might see me attacking. And G-Man and others basically tell him that they'll be prepared and ready anyway. So yeah, this was the whole thing, guys. I destroyed my throat for this whole conversation, but yeah, overall, this is how it was meant to end. Yep, this is how it was meant to end. Yeah, and I can't believe that one day I would explain this whole thing on Discord server with over 400 people hearing this whole thing. And guys, obviously this ending is I'm telling you guys, I've missed a lot of details in telling, but overall this was the whole thing that was about to happen. And at the end of the day, what I really wanted to show was something enjoyable to watch, because I know that the series had a lot of plot holes at the end of the day. So in order for that, we tried all we could to make some scenes that you could actually have that hype. Because I can imagine that it didn't matter what people would think. Everybody were going to love that scene that Camp Ryan was going to say, "Alliance, rise up," and you know, yeah, maybe in another life there would be a animated ending for Skibidi Toilet Multiverse. Maybe in another life. Yeah, I'd also like to say that there would have been a fight between Sinister and Tri-Titan, which later Tri-Titan realized that he cannot beat Sinister, but at the same time Sinister was like that, okay, you're big, but not big enough to win me in a 1v1. But then there was going to be this cool scene during the fight that Benjamin was going to give Tri-Titan infinite boost, and imagine Tri-Titan with infinite boost. Sinister's honest reaction was that, okay, holy shit. But then again, Sinister during this whole fight was going to be, yeah, he doesn't need friends to help him. He doesn't need allies. He can take what he wants, and he actually does. One thing about Sinister through the entire series. Oh, hey, Max City, how you doing, pal? Hey, pal. It's nice to see you. Good luck with your original series, pal. Yeah. Shout out to Max City, guys. So yeah, this whole thing about Sinister, guys, was that I think a lot of people wanted him to win. And I can tell you, he would literally do so. But it's just that if he wanted to actually get some allies, it would have been so easier for him to take over. But even until the very end, Sinister Sebastian went solo, and he still did a lot of thing. He still did a lot of thing, and if it wasn't because of Winston, he would already got what he wanted. So I would also say rest in peace, Sinister. I think he was a good villain at the end of the day. Oh yeah, and about his soul, I'm getting some notifications. At the end of the day, Sebastian's soul still goes to the clock realm, but it's not like he has grudge against other clocks. There, it's just the end of a whole life for them. So their whole soul is just in peace. They might have a snark. They might have a a snarky conversation. I don't know if it's called snarky. It's they might have a banter in there, but yeah, another day they're all resting in peace in the clock realm along with Benjamin. Yeah, it's gonna be an awkward atmosphere, but that's gotta be them for them. I mean, at the end of the day, Sinister did prove Chief Clockman wrong at some point, but that's how life goes. Sinister went his way, he failed, and he simply accepted it. So yeah, guys, that's how it goes. And uh, well, again, guys, thank you so much for your time. Uh, Still over 400 people waiting here. I really appreciate it, especially with me having a lot of grammar problems here. But I wanted to tell everything for as much as I could. There are still some stuff left that I've probably forgot to mention. But if y'all want, you can always ask about it. I'll try to see something if I can answer it later. But right now, this is all I have to say. Yeah, that was the end of the multiverse series. And yeah, guys, I might as well kind of before I go announce the title of our upcoming original series. Uh, so I mean, we're gonna announce it. We're gonna announce it for later. Hopefully, in the next week, we're gonna announce at least the title. We're still trying to work on the animation, but the title is going to be the Cyber Wonderland, and we're trying so hard on it. Yeah, this is gonna be another original. This is gonna be another series. This is literally our first original series that we're trying so hard on it, and I'm sure you guys are gonna like it. This is gonna be interesting. Although it's not gonna be related to multiverse, but still, uh, I'm so excited. I mean, we are all so excited to show what we've been working on. And just like that, thank you guys so much for staying. It's always heartwarming for me to see you guys around, and we'll always count on you to be here. We'll always appreciate you to be here, and I won't waste your time anymore. Hope to see you guys. Hope to see you again soon, another time. Hopefully, with a lot of good, very good news. Until next time, guys.